Today we're here with our client, Naomi. We're going to talk about why the real job of the business owner is to actually teach the staff the business and work to solve the employee problems. Why you want to get a trainer when you start, not when you need the emergency room. How your tuition in business is either paid through losses or it's paid in education. Why it's easier to build the business when you're not the best technician, but you're actually focused on building the business. Why when you lease, every square foot has to pay its own rent. You want to understand the power of the pre-sale, and also why you want to understand the cost of everything that you sell down to the penny. Remember, staff don't always want financial bonuses. There's other ways to get them motivated, and why culture is really, really important to growth, but doesn't matter if the business doesn't make any money. I'm Dennis.
And I'm Greg.
And this is the More Profit, Less Stress podcast,
where we provide the tools for more profit and less stress in your business now so you can turn into a valuable asset later. Welcome to the More Profit, Less Stress podcast. My name's Greg Forzani. I'm here with Dennis Takema, and our guest today is Naomi Keene from Esthetics. That's always an interesting word to pronounce. It's Esthetics,
and
right?
Spell. No one can spell
and
it
spell,
either.
Yeah.
Right. No? Yeah. What's your email address? That's my least favorite question.
Right.
Yeah.
It's Esthetics.
Correct.
No, how do you spell it? Esthetics.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, we excited to have you as a guest today because I think you got a really cool story. Like, you're in a great place, you're doing really well, but I think you got an amazing story of kind of where you came from with this and a whole bunch of awesome lessons you learned that I think can help others, right, learn from that. So before we kind of get into the whole story and the fun journey, maybe give us an idea, what does Esthetics do, and where are you located, what geographic area do you cover, and I think you also do some online stuff, so maybe expand on that.
Yeah, we're located in just outside of Calgary, Alberta, in Canada, and we service a small community that's about 100,000 people, or getting close to that now, and we are in medical aesthetics. So everything from your traditional Botoxes, fillers, facials. We're really super passionate about women's health and longevity, so getting into the peptide and micronutrients world. We do IV therapy, and that's what we serve. And how we serve.
Okay, so for those, because I think peptides seem like a relatively new word and thing, like in popularity.
Yep.
So maybe can you expand on that a little bit? Like, what are they?
Yeah, peptides are basically amino acids that signal in your body to do certain tasks and control certain systems. So as we age, our body becomes resistant, or we kind of decay in some of these processes. So things like inflammation and insulin resistance, brain function, and all other parts of our systems, we are kind of lacking in that. So we treat a lot of perimenopausal women. That's a big factor. And like chronic fatigue is a thing, but most of our clients are here to optimize how they're feeling. So they know they're aging and they're okay with that, but they just want to feel their very best. And so that's where treatment comes in with us.
Very cool. And I know we talked before the podcast, Dennis and I felt that's such an important subject that we actually scheduled a whole nother podcast with you. So anybody watching this, come back and keep checking. We're going to do a whole nother podcast just on that subject, because business owners need to be healthy and think clear and make good decisions and be energetic. And obviously it's very, very important. So very cool.
I mean, everybody does.
Everybody does.
Yeah. Everybody does.
No, we're just talking to business owners.
I mean, their employees don't matter nearly as much as they do, and neither do, come on, everybody. It's an everybody problem.
Yeah, it's an everybody problem. It sure is. I like to be a little bit partial, though, and say as business owners, we carry and wear so many different hats. And have so many responsibilities. And I think genetically we're predisposed to be, carrying all of this in our head all the time. We're thinking about plans and profit and what we need to do and fix. And that mental load, I think at this time in midlife, is challenging. That your business might have problems. Hopefully it doesn't. But if it does, can we optimize your body so that you can handle and cope and thrive in this new season of opening and owning your business in middle age? So I think it's an important thing for sure. It has been for me, at least.
No, that's a good way to say it.
Just going to say it's important for our clients too, obviously. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a business around optimizing health
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all of that stuff. So,
And there's a lot of people getting, there's been definitely a trend recently of people getting out of like the professional career or whatever and saying, hey, I want to start a business. And yeah, that's great. It's awesome. They can come to you for help with making sure they got all the energy and power they need to do that. Very cool.
so is that what got you started in the aesthetics industry? Was that, or is that what it evolved into over time?
Yeah, that's what it's evolving into. And I'm hoping to continue growing it. In Canada, unlike the US, the FDA here is very stringent and peptides aren't actually brandable or, licensable. So there's a whole market here. But aside from peptides and medical treatment, middle age it's just trending in Canada right now. It's not where we don't have access like you guys do in the States to the same capacity. I think I like to say I'm like kind of in the first generation that's really talking about perimenopause and andropause in that capacity. So no, it's not what got me here, but it's definitely what's going to keep me here. Dennis, no, I had gyms in COVID and died. And then I needed to pay rent. So that's how I got here. And I'd always thought I had these beautiful boutique studios, again, in the health and wellness space and wanting to impact people's well-being. And group fitness was just my jam. COVID hit. We were shut down in Alberta for 17 months and I had all this square footage. But when I had opened Orange way back 10 years ago, I had always said, one day we'll get into longevity. I had a little stint with some bioidentical hormone therapy in my mid 20s. It really helped me. And I was just like, this is cool. Like, we got to be able to bring this all under one roof. And with our boutique studio, we were kind of like the one-stop shop. So, we were the Pilates, we were the spin, we were the yoga, we were the hot classes, we were the heavy lifting all under one roof, which was at that time very new in the industry. So why not add medical aesthetics? Why not add, cold plunging and sauning and all the things in this beautiful boutique space, which now you can't have a successful gym if you don't have all those things. So COVID, I was like, well, I'm going to pre-sell something, get my down payment for a device, and we'll just see what happens. So yeah, I leased a $130,000 device, didn't know how to turn it on. And the joke on the street, Dennis, is that I lasered a gazillion vaginas to pay my rent. And I got into laser hair removal, and that's all that it was. I only wanted to pay rent. I wanted to keep my studios going.
Right.
So here we are. I went back to school, got my technician licensing, and then basically self-taught everything, from like, what gauge needle, into all my nurses and medical people out there. You guys are like geniuses. It's hard to like, 22 gauge 2-inch, stereo cannula. Like I know how to do that now. So that's like a little flex, but it was all ground zero. And I think too super risky. I was a nobody on the street, and here I am cold calling over 200 nurse practitioners and MDs to try to get somebody to just back my clinic. Those who did, I love them. I'm so grateful for them, but I'm so surprised that they did, because now that I know what the risk is, I probably wouldn't have taken a bet on me either.
Well, I had a
Here we
client
are.
who was a medical esthetician clinic for a long time too.
Yeah.
And the only way she got in there was finding a doctor who's willing to put his name on it. Right.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
still does. Now, he still shows up once in a while, but the predominant is he's just the medical supervisor at this point as the partner. It seems to be the way that a lot of them go.
Yeah. So now I'm like seeking an NP or MD who is very knowledgeable in hormone, like subscribing, also symptom protocol. And so if there's an ask on this podcast, that's that. If you're that person and want a partner, I'm your girl.
It's actually funny how rare that is in Canada. Like we're going to do a whole other podcast about hormones and that kind of stuff. But even when I went down my whole research path on that, trying to get anybody who understands it is really, really, really hard to find. And it ends up going to a lot of natural paths for bioidentical stuff. And even they're not allowed to technically prescribe anything. So
That's
it's
right.
like, if you can find that doctor, that'd be a perfect pairing.
Yeah. So that's the plan. That's the plan. It's
That's
slow
the plan.
going, but I'm trying.
So you had the gym, you kind of got your legs cut out from underneath you. That put you on a path to pursue something just to pay rent. And as you said, the thousands of vaginas to kind of get there, which is, an option.
Yeah. Lots of laser hair removal, like
That's laser
everywhere.
hair removal. Yeah. And then from there, you started building the business But what made
Yeah.
you ever actually reach out for help or look for help on the business side of things?
It was a referral, actually. So a referral from close friends that were members of the gym since day one that were also doing coaching with you guys. And I think that, for business owners listening, like the power of solid referrals is so important, but it also has to be taught. And that means whatever service you're offering or product you have, it has to be transformational, that someone's going to be raving about it. And that's going to go tenfold farther in business than I think anything else. So yeah, absolutely. I got a referral and was like, you just need to meet Greg. Maybe there's like something that, whatever. And so, yeah, had the opportunity to start very early on in this business with a coach right away. If I could have gone back from day one and had coaching at the beginning of the gyms, I think COVID would have looked very differently for me than it did.
So it wasn't any kind of big burning pain. It was just somebody you trusted said, go talk, and you had the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love like a teacher by trade, educator at heart, and like love learning. Also love paying to learn things faster because I know that mistakes are super costly. So the opportunity loss cost is just too huge. So why not just work with the experts? So I've always been a good student that way and always impressed with coaching and believed in investing in coaching. So yeah, I had a big problem though, Dennis, like, we're $4.5 million in debt in our last business. So, by the time we sold, should have walked away sooner, all the things, but why not start from the beginning?
Right. So
Yeah.
your big pain at the moment was, how do I recover and pay off the debt?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So that's which is what led you to buy the machine and then do everything you had to do to kind of dig yourself out of that hole, which actually makes a lot of sense that you always believed in coaching if you owned a gym. I mean, a big part of that would have been,
was a school teacher in my early 20s and like I believe in PT, hire the expert. Also the accountability piece I think is super important. I think too, having someone in your corner, I think is so important for like the emotional roller coaster that is business and just life, and having people that you can relate to and have support from that know the path that you're in. That's hard, right? Your friend circles change. You're even fellow business owners. I started a business group here in Airdrie and I love them all dearly. And I'm so grateful for all of their support because this is a safe space and a place where I can feel more like myself than in any other group of people. But nobody had a brick and mortar my size. Nobody's carrying an overhead like me. Nobody was shut down like me. So, the feeling like you're on an island and nobody understanding like the load that you're carrying, and then having a business coach who's like, yeah, man, this is shit. Like, I'm surprised you're alive. Like, of course you're having a hard time. Like, so I think that is so invaluable. I imagine that a lot of your clients are coming to you when they're in the red, they're having a hard time, they need to fix problems. And, I just wish more people would start at the beginning, like, business plan 1, step 1, get a coach, like for sure.
Well, there's two things you talked about there. Number one on coaching is I was at the gym one day and I'm watching a guy who's being a PT, training a gentleman who's doing lower back extensions, and the guy's on his phone. And I'm watching this guy doing lower back extensions. He feels like he's doing it right, but he's pulling up and to the left. And I'm like, dude, like watch what's going on here. The guy's pulling up and to the left. He's got a complete muscle imbalance, but he's the guy doing the workout, can't feel what's going wrong. The PT should have stepped in there and been like, you got to fix this. And that's the whole point of the coaching and the training. It's, yeah, you're there, but let's just tweak and adjust and move something. And like you said, the accountability, like I guarantee, I don't know if I didn't see the guy with that PT again in the gym. So I'm not sure if that was the moment he fired the guy or just stopped showing up. But half the show up is, I don't want to work out today, but I'm accountable to somebody to get my ass there because I'm paying for it. And so I'm going to go do the hard thing because I'm paying somebody to be there. It matters.
Not all coaches are the same, Dennis. Right?
Correct. 100%.
Yeah. So the referral, I take the referral, from business owner friends that I respected and trusted, and, absolutely. Okay. So read the reviews.
Well, and one thing you did also mention there too, it's when do you start? Like I've often told people when I'm walking to the gym in the very first time, it's go get a trainer. Feel like I can't afford them. Like you can't afford not to. Go get a trainer. Just start right from the very beginning like I did. Get your foundations in place and build. It's a lot harder to be like needing of the emergency room, having to have all the back issues, the knee issues and stuff to get started again, because you got to rip everything apart back to the foundations and train all of the basics. And it's a lot harder to do that than just like you said, start from the beginning. And you find that the results come way faster. And that's what you said. I wish I would have gone back and started this at the beginning before the emergency room.
Yeah.
And I think like you'd said earlier, and it's unfortunately true, most clients come to us when they're in the emergency room and it's like, I can't figure it out on my own. My friends don't know how to help me. My staff don't know how to help me. I'm dying. I'm going to lose my business within the next, whatever, month to 12 months. So can you help me? And in most cases we can, but the issue is, to your point, if they'd started sooner, like just about every single one of those cases, we can go through it and see there's like 1 to 3 major decisions they made that were killers, like business killing decisions, like bad franchise agreement, bad lease, bad pricing, bad location. Like there's a couple of easy decisions they make that are, and they don't know any better, right? They're really good at their product or service and they just don't know any better. That doesn't mean they're great business owners. So to your point, like, man, we so wish people would start before they make those bad decisions, because then they wouldn't get to the emergency room. And just imagine how much less stress, how much more money they would have made. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's just like, I think I look back now, like being a business owner, well, for more than 10 years, but in brick and mortar for 10 years, I feel like I'm just beginning. Like I'm just learning. There's just so much to learn. And a lot of it is personal development, like my bad habits or, things I want to improve or mindsets or perimenopause, whatever that I'm dealing with now. So I think a lot of what I see with new business owners that I'm connecting with, like they think they know it all. But guess what? You don't. You have no clue. Because 10 years in, I'm like, wow, where's that spreadsheet again? Okay, what was that tool? Oh gosh. Or the ability to like help and coach people now, like the skills that I have with, my dad building a new business. I'm like, oh, I got this. No problems. Like back my hand. I know how to do this. My sister's expanding her team and our organization. I'm super passionate about culture and team org. And that's like just a natural knack for me. So you don't learn these things though on your own. You learn them through failing and then having the right support to guide you in the right way. So yeah, I'm like, if you don't want to lose everything, then get a coach. Like, I don't know. You got to pay for business insurance. Get a coach.
I'm laughing at the whole concept of how many people say, well, I learned from the school of hard knocks.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't you learn to dodge the punch and learn how to punch before you get in the ring with somebody who's going to knock you out? Like, I don't understand the whole, I need to learn the hard way type stuff. Why wouldn't I learn the better way? And like you're saying, you already have foundations in place. It's so much easier to build off an education foundation than it is to, get punched in the head a bunch of times and realize what not to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably people working in the business too much, I think. They can't grow their business. They're working in it too much. And they're the revenue source.
Yeah. If you subscribe to that 10,000 hour philosophy, it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. So let's use your current industry, right? So you're providing a service and let's say peptides or whatever. So 10,000 hours would be 2,000 hours a year, which is a normal work year times 5 years. So from your experience, how many years does it take to become an expert, say, facilitating peptides, knowing what to do? Or you're a yoga instructor, right? So how long does it take to become an expert yoga instructor? Not an expert yoga class member, which is totally different, right? Like from your experience, whatever service you provide, how many years does it take to become an expert at that, providing the service?
Well, it depends on how much time you're putting into it each day, each week, each month. And like, show me your calendar and I'll tell you what your bank account looks like.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, when I sold the gyms, I did check. We had one software system and I was like, just out of curiosity, like how many classes have I taught at this studio, at this location? And it
Right.
was 37,000 classes, y'all. Okay. So that, to me, that's a big red flag, but also like, well, there's a reason why you're a Lululemon ambassador. There's a reason why you won Canada's top fitness instructor. And I'm like, if I just put that amount of time into other things, like the business, it came in waves. At the end of it, like I'm dying now because I'm on a non-compete and I can't teach and it sucks. And that was like a huge part of my life, but it was so hard in the beginning and then it got easier. We built the team. I had to build skills around it. And then now it's something you can do, with my eyes closed, hands tied behind my back. And, so I don't know. I think it like, show me your calendar. Well, that's it.
And I guess
Show
the
me your
point I'm
calendar.
getting at is people will go start a business because they're an expert at what they provide, and then just assume automatically, oh, I'm an expert business owner. And it's the farthest thing from the truth. Like totally farthest thing from the truth. Like,
Yeah.
Dennis
And
and I
it's
both
sad.
have, auto mechanics as clients. And I know you definitely don't want me near your car trying to fix it. It doesn't make me an expert mechanic by any means, but I understand the business inside and out. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It takes a lot of skill. I think that's it. And then I think people are naive thinking their single product or service is going to take them to the end. And even building the skill over 10 years or something, there's still a lot that goes into knowing how to get to 10 years that has nothing to do with the skill at all. Like I say, show me your calendar and it's a joke, but like, do you
no,
have
it's,
the endurance to outstand? And with that, like 10 years, like you're only going to fail if you stop.
yeah.
And so if you can't learn it all, and part of it is losing money as you're learning, because that's the cost of learning, then what tools, and this is where I like to come in, like what tools do you have set in place right now to achieve this goal long term? Whether it's a 5-pound weight loss, and that's how I started, or hit, 100 classes, or, in this case, financial freedom out of your business and a life that you actually enjoy living. What's holding you back? And do you have the tools, the support, everything necessary to get there and be thriving in 10 years and not emotionally burnt out? Because you're going to burn out along the way also. You're going to hate your life almost every second day. Like, it's just part of it, right?
And
I
that's
don't know.
outside of hormone fluctuations and health issues you're dealing with.
Right?
That's just the mental capacity of being in business.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me to sit here being like, oh, my business is so great. Like, no, y'all, like even yesterday, I was like, do we expand? And on paper, the numbers don't lie. So I don't make any decision anymore without looking at the numbers. I'm like, do I really want to do this? And then I look at my calendar, I'm like, when's my period coming? Is this just like a thing or is this a real thing? So that's just like, I don't know. It's a tough thing to go. So if you don't got a coach that's understands all the ebbs and flows, and you're not taking responsibility for your calendar, your lifestyle, your habits, how you show up, the therapy you're taking, like all the things, then yeah, you're not going to make it and you're going to hate it. And your bank account's going to show that. I
Yeah.
don't know. But that's been my experience.
So before we
Felt
get
like
into, I think there's some cool things you've done with O. And before we get into that, just kind of what are some, without divulging too much non-disclosure information about your old business, what are some key things you could say to people, like big mistakes to not make early on, like mistakes that can literally put a hole in the ship that means the ship will never be able to run?
Okay. If I had to put it to just a few things. So in 5 years, this business has taken, it's been on a crazy journey like any other business. I was super blessed that, like I said, I think one of my magic superpowers is people. I'm really great with people. I love people. I feel super fulfilled and connected when I get to engage in any capacity. So I'm not good working on my own. So we know that. What came in the business was I was able to build a team that didn't really need me. So from day one, unlike the gym, I wasn't the technician. That came with challenges, but it also allowed me to enjoy the business because I wasn't grinding in it.
Right.
After I got away from, lasering a million vaginas, we were good. So the people were important, and making sure that they were trained and they were culturally the right fitting people. I took care of them. They took care of our clients, and our clients took care of the bottom line. So that was huge. And if you're not a people person, then find a people person or start going to therapy, learn NLP, get your communications right, do your personality test with your staff, implement the tools, the cadences of personal reviews and things like that to keep your team engaged. So that was a huge thing. I think in any other business, you can't grow by yourself. You can't scale to a certain level unless you have a team. So that was monumental for me. I'd say second, I learned about pricing right from the beginning. So margins were healthy. I wasn't building a business to try to make money. My business was making money before it opened. So that was important. And then what I think about this business is, if you can imagine yourself, my gyms had childcare and my offices, and that's what I got rid of or converted to make space for aesthetics. So my square footage was really small. So lease space was super important, but also I had built-in traffic. So that all kind of helped. I will also say I had very good brand awareness in a community that I gave back to. And I know one of the things that Greg had said to me when we were just chatting about if coaching was going to be a fit was his belief about giving back to the community that you serve. And that is a key pillar and value in my businesses with all of my team members. And so having that already in place and being a part of me, like, I know one of it was just I didn't have money to market traditionally. So guerrilla marketing was what we did. We got out in the community and I volunteered everywhere and showed up. But that paid tenfold when we opened this business. People were already familiar with who we were, what we stood for. And it was just another extension of what was already doing well. So I know that's a lot and it's long and it's winded, but people get your rent right, know your numbers and build the margins right in from day one. And then like, where are you and how are you kind of marketing? And do you need all that square footage? Like, yeah, not 3 is 5.5 things, but there you go.
So let's unpack that and kind of talk through your journey, your story. So I know when we met, again, without getting into too many details, the biggest one for sure was lease. Right? If you got a lease that's not going to be profitable, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to sink a ship, like without question. Business is done. And I think to your point you were trying to say earlier, you're associating with a lot of business owners, but none of them have that bricks and mortar background like you have, and they weren't dealing with all that stuff. So I know when we met, lease was tough. We had to really dive into that and go, oh, this is something that's got to be dealt with, right? Because maybe too much square footage for the revenue. We had beautiful space, but just mathematically, it was going to be very difficult to get to the revenue you needed to justify the lease. For clarity, we're talking about, like, again, you've had your business journey so far has been 2 businesses. So the first one, you had a lot of learning lessons, and that first business is when we started working together. And we just noticed immediately the lease, like, okay, this is going to be an issue, and how do we fix that, right? So
my learnings from you, Greg, was, and this is one thing I do often now, is I'm like, what does that square footage bring in? And in our gyms, we were 6,000 square feet, and I had a big retail section. And this was also another reason why I was like, oh, like Greg has, experience with retail, like maybe, whatever. We were one of the largest Lululemon wholesalers of all the Lululemon wholesale accounts. So we're a massive retail store, but I had no idea, like looking at the layout, even like, he's like, what's that table in the background there for? I'm like, I don't know. Cause I had nowhere to put that table. Well, what's that it's 3 square footage, like 3 square feet. Is it bringing in new revenue? I'm like, does it matter? I'm like, how about you come look at this beautiful staff lunchroom I made? So even to back up massive square footage, I wish I would have had somebody guiding me doing the build out. And this is what I see in all my friends that are opening new clinics. I just, massage therapists that, I was like, you don't need the square footage. I know you want it. You don't need it. You don't need it. I'm so proud of her. She took like half the square footage. Her little lunch table where everyone charts is like against a wall. It's not even a full size desk. It's like half a foot deep. Like, right. And that stuff gets me excited because you can't go backwards. But I had the opposite. I was like, well, I really like that handle for that door. Right. We need, 38 of them and they're $380 a piece. I'm like, cool. Okay. I didn't know. I'm like, heated floors. Like, these are all the things that help convert clients for sure. But now, like, I know that didn't matter. Clients were coming for me. They were coming for the service that they were getting. Sure, these were nice add-ons, but I didn't need it to make the money.
Yeah.
And if I had known about square footage, like, sure, this is nice to have a staff area, but guess what? What does that actually cost you? Oh, childcare is really nice to have, but it's an annual $92,000 loss. And everyone talks about it, but doesn't utilize it. And guess what? You can't even bring in so yes, Greg, for sure, leases have to make sense. But if you're even starting in the beginning, you need someone to look at that square footage, and you need somebody who cares about, I can save you $3 a square foot on this tile. It looks almost the same.
Yeah.
Let's just do that.
Yeah.
So like, I had an amazing building company. I loved working with them, but what did they build out? All the Starbucks
Yeah.
across Canada. Like they got big pockets. They don't care.
Yeah.
So when a family like ours is putting, 1.4 into a build out, somebody should have said, girl, you have no clue what you're doing. You have no right to do this. Like not one person in the whole journey along the way of starting ever questioned me.
It's a building you don't get to keep.
Okay,
Like-
let's talk about that, Dennis. Also, Dennis. Yeah. And then it doesn't matter what the business is worth. You're in COVID and, no bank is lending on a gym when you go to sell. It doesn't matter where the revenue's at and all the things. It's like just they're not. So you need somebody who's got cash. And then they know that you're in a tight spot. They're getting this build out for 10 cents on the dollar. And my build out looked amazing. It still was pristine. So for sure, I learned a lot. Like you guys, build outs less, square footage less, and get help signing your lease and get somebody to help you design your build out. Or if you're in like my position, the game now, like I told Greg, I was like, one day I'm going to get a space. I'm not paying for the build out. I'm not going to need a personal guarantee because I don't have one. And I'm not going to need a credit check because I also don't have one now with the gyms. And sure enough, that's why the numbers make sense. I'm never going to build out a space again that I don't own, Dennis. You are so right. Never again.
Well, and I think
again.
that's the hard part for a lot of people. Like in bodybuilding specifically, there's a phrase called maximum effect or minimum effective dose. Once you hit the minimum effective dose, going more doesn't give you more. You've hit the capacity, take a break and walk away. Any building that you're going to have for your business is the same way. What's the minimum effective dose I need to bring in the most amount of profit and revenue? Otherwise, why have it? Like it doesn't make any difference. And all you're ever doing is paying for the landlord's retirement, not your own. And I don't care what you put in the building. If the next person comes in and they're not what you did, they're going to destroy everything you built out, including your $38 doorknobs.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense to them.
$380 doorknobs.
Well, there you go. $380 doorknobs.
I wish, Dennis.
Right. But like, if you think about it that way, so like for me, when I drill into my clients' heads is you run your business like a pauper so you can live like a king, not the other way around, or you're going to be a slave to the building you don't own. So it's a hard lesson for a lot.
The medical aesthetics world too, like, I mean, I know there's different things. I'm not sure if this is in the States too, but physicians get different pricing. They get better lease rates when they're getting devices. And like, I'm a baby clinic. There's so many amazing clinics in our area that I just like look up to. They've been around forever. They have every single device under the sun, like, millions of dollars of technology. And, we have just under $1 million, and that's a big thing for us. But lease rates on equipment and purchasing, like you just don't need to go crazy in the beginning. Build your business as you go. And I've learned that. And it's okay. It's an ego thing, I think. I'm like, yeah, we don't offer that service. Like I don't have the $380,000 for the device. I'm also not going to spend it until I can guarantee the business from it. So yeah, small things. Like I buy used devices now because I've learned leasing sucks. And interest is a real thing. And
well, you're buying a device from somebody else that made the bad decision.
Yeah, they built a big, beautiful clinic. They invested, but it's also, you can do it in the beginning because when you don't have books yet, it's way easier as long as you have credit to lease out everything. I've learned that now. Once you get going, everything's off your bank balance and credit from there. So hopefully your business is good. But if you don't have the other stuff in place, it doesn't matter how fancy it is.
I think it's worth expanding on the equipment discussion, because I literally just went through this with another client like a few weeks ago. $2 million piece of equipment, brand new. $2 million piece of equipment, brand new. Their question was, do we buy it or lease it? And my question back was, that's the second question. The first question is, does it make sense financially? Like, what service are we selling? What's the average transaction for that service? How many customers do you need over what period of time to make it financially make sense? So then we go do all that math to discover it made no sense whatsoever financially at all, which led to the conclusion of what you just said a minute ago. I'm like, somebody else, like I guarantee you other people in North America have made this decision, screwed up, gone bankrupt. Now go look out those and buy the equipment used. Like go find it for $500,000.
Yeah. And even just like, so like I don't know. I'm definitely the savvy one since COVID because, like you said, and basically going bankrupt and insolvent in these corps, like, you know, you got to be very creative. So I pre-sell everything before we get going.
Nice.
And just like your client, Greg, I had metrics. Somebody showed me, here's this, you know, high ticket service that you can sell. You only need to like sell 2 a month. I'm like, oh, I'm great at sales. 2 is no problem. But I didn't know about the tech. And I actually didn't know how to sell the tech either. I didn't also, my clients weren't at the same age, you know, 5 years later now, our clients have aged 5 years. They need this service now. So like now the market's here, but I don't know, leasing to like these payouts at the, like, I didn't know before in the gyms, we paid cash for everything. We had cash. We didn't buy until we had cash. We didn't have any leases. So I was like, oh, whatever. Yeah, I'll just lease this machine. It's only like $2,500 a month. No big deal. I got it. Pay out the device 5 years later and find out there's a $40,000 bill at the end. I didn't know any of this. And I consider myself quite smart, but you don't know until you go through it, is my point. And you don't have somebody helping you with those kinds of exercises and analyzing it, then you don't. And if your client can go find somebody with that $2 million device that's in the same boat, maybe you can just get a lease takeover. And maybe they even hold it under their name for you.
Right. Yeah.
And then you don't need anything down.
Yeah.
And maybe you can negotiate a little rate of, you know, I don't even want to pay you. I'll give you a percentage of my gross revenue,
Yeah.
or net revenue or whatever. If it goes well, I'll do a 3-month trial with you. Let's just see how it goes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm learning now that, yes, like you said, Greg, there's so many people who have made those mistakes. And if you're smart and you have a coach and you have some guidance, you can like take advantage of those situations, but also hopefully help that other person in some capacity and like leverage yourself and win on the other side. But you don't need to buy new ever.
Yeah, I gotta circle back to your advice thing. And Dennis and I both experience this, and I think it pisses him off just as much as it pisses me off. So I gotta watch my language here. But
Let's find out.
yeah, but what the fuck is it with people that give such bad advice? Like back to your lease thing you talked about earlier. So you got a contractor, doesn't give a shit, doesn't know any better, doesn't know to think about what are you investing per square foot that you're going to be able to get back, any of that stuff. You got a franchisor. Yeah, doesn't care. Got a franchisor. And this is super common. Like the franchise story, we just did a podcast on Friday. Same story. Franchisor didn't give a crap. CEO of the franchise in North America flew in to help him negotiate the lease, but basically flew in to say to the franchisee, you need to take this lease at the rate they want because it's a great deal. And we crunched the numbers, and the franchisee's like, it ain't a great deal, and here's why, and had to educate the CEO of the company, then go negotiate on their behalf with the landlord. So even a franchisor, like in your case, gave you horrific advice or no advice. It's one thing for people to plead ignorance because they're a business owner, they're new or not new, they're great at their service, and they just don't know any better. That's one thing. A totally different thing is when you're franchising a company, you're the franchisor, and you're fucking with people's livelihoods. You can't play that card. You can't play the card of I didn't know any better. And the problem is a lot of these people are making decisions on emotion first without the numbers. The damage it causes is just horrific. It's horrific. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's quite sad, actually. I would never touch a franchise again, personally. Absolutely after that. And I would never personally franchise either. I wouldn't. Everyone's like, franchise, oh, do that. I'm like, no, because I don't want to be that person that maybe there's things that, like, of course there's things I still don't know, but I cannot risk learning how to franchise with other people's money and well-being and families and livelihoods. Like, I just don't care. Like, not my thing. I know what it's like to be on the other end of it. And it's sad. It's so sad.
So let's dive back into the story. So you had a gym, realized we started working together. Like you were in the emergency room. We realized some of the big decisions you had made, that some of them we were able to fix, like the pricing thing and stuff was great. You were able to get the team, like you did a great job of getting the team going, hiring process, performance reviews, staff meetings, all that stuff. And then got to the lease. It was like, can't really change that. Then COVID hit, caused a whole bunch of problems. So then that birthed this new business called Esthetics, right? Which actually started within the gym. Mm-hmm. You actually were able to figure out a way to fill space in the gym, start this new cool business. So, and this new business, you started correctly, like spent the money right on everything I do per square foot, I got to get a return. So let's talk through some of the cool things that we put in place. Like, let's start with pricing, and then we can kind of get into team. Because I remember going into the pricing stuff, because you had both products and services, so it was kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
You got to analyze both. And as I recall, and expand on this story, let's start with the product side. On the product side, I think you had some products where you started to analyze it to realize, wow, I'm making good money on those products. And on those products, I'm getting punched in the mouth, basically. so maybe rewind and talk through the product stuff and service stuff just on pricing, what we kind of did there.
Yeah, I just don't sell a lot of stuff anymore. That's kind of, this in some now a few years later. If someone else is going to sell it cheaper and not make money on it, go ahead. If my clients want to go buy that from somewhere else, go ahead. It's definitely not sustainable. I will say I only work with vendors now that support businesses properly, that they're not also, in the medical aesthetic world, we need an MD to sign off to open these accounts. And if you are a vendor selling on Amazon or direct to customer, then that totally defeats the purpose, and discounting less than we can afford to sell after paying commissions and blended and fixed variable expenses. I just don't care, and I'm not going to sell it. And if that means I only have 2 things on the shelf and we don't sell as much product anymore, fine. So instead of operating from FOMO, if I may, like, oh, we need this, we have to have this is the most popular brand, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Like, now I'm just like, well, if it doesn't make us money, we're not doing it. Like, I am not paying my clients to take it off the shelf, like, end of story. And that's just how it is. And I'd say, sure, we lost some business because of it. And, the Facebook mommies that were like, oh, you can get this serum at this dentist's office at cost and she'll give you a deal. It is a deal. It's at cost. Like, how can you, what? Like, nobody knows that her husband doesn't watch the books. She's just running the front desk and she's just supplying cream to whoever comes in at the dental office. Like, you don't even offer aesthetics. Like, wild. Yeah, I'm not even going to care about it anymore. I don't even care. I don't care.
And just, sorry, I'm picturing on that example, that business is making very little margin or no margin on that product. But that business is also, back to the earlier conversation, paying rent for the space the product's sitting in. So it's like a double whammy. I remember, just to divert for a sec, I remember my wife and I bought a pet store. She ran it. We actually phased out the number 1 healthy kibble brand in North America because the margins were less than our variable expenses. So we were losing money on every one. And the store actually went up in sales and got more profitable. There's a lot behind that. You got to educate the staff and the customers and all that stuff, but good for you. So that's really cool. And then your services is where we got more detailed on pricing. Like, we got into, you'll have to expand on this, but like, I remember us getting into like the price of a needle and the price of tape and the price of, like, we got into everything with that. Service included all of this stuff. Therefore the price needs to be X, right? And I remember you were excited about that because you were like, it was like, you were starting to understand the Matrix, like Keanu Reeves in the movies, right? You were starting to go, oh, we need to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Now my brain goes like, thank goodness it's 2026 and we can just replicate and make AI software that can like track all of our stuff for us. But yeah, I remember that spreadsheet. I hate that spreadsheet. I love that spreadsheet, but I hate it. I've rebuilt it a couple times. So at least now, 4 pieces of gauze at 0.08 cents that is used in every single service. If I change it in the front sheet, the whole workbook also assesses. So yes, I think it's so important. If you are a business with equipment that you utilize, I'm, 5 years in, really learning what it costs per treatment to have, laser, 5 minutes of laser hair removal. Like, I know that metric, but I didn't know it until the device got to 5 years and I had to do some major maintenance on it. And what the interest landed after 5 years on a lease, I didn't really know. I was like, your lease is $2,500 a month. It's not what it costs. Like 10x that, because you're not going to be ready to maintenance it. And where is that coming from? So I don't care if the laser hair underarm treatment costs 3 minutes and it's the gateway to acquire every new customer. It isn't free. Right? And what's your CAC? Do you know it? I didn't know it. I still kind of like, I'm kind of guessing, but I have enough data that I can,
You're talking customer
sort of
acquisition
guess.
cost?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
that's a whole
so,
nother conversation because that's a number most people don't measure. They should measure, right? Like what does a customer cost me to acquire? But that's the after the fact measurement. The measurement that people are not measuring, which they should be measuring, which is a more important number, is your budgeted acquisition cost.
mhm,
Because
mhm,
just
mhm.
because that's my customer acquisition cost, it doesn't mean it's a profitable customer acquisition cost. It means that
No,
they
no.
measure customer acquisition cost by different marketing strategies and say, oh, well, this one's the cheapest CAC, like that marketing strategy is my cheapest customer acquisition cost. So let's do more of that one. But that customer acquisition cost might be 3 times more than they can afford because they never did the budget acquisition cost. And this is like
Yeah.
Dennis and I see this now. Marketing companies are pushing measure your CAC, and that's awesome, but they're missing the way more important point. What's the budget acquisition cost you can afford? It's like take it to leases. It's like looking at 10 leases and you go, well, I shopped around and that's the best lease. So therefore we'll do that one. But what if you can't afford that lease? Like what was the budgeted amount you could afford? This is the part in marketing people are missing. This is a big deal right now. Huge deal.
Yeah. And I think too, like I can say for myself, I'm like, well, if it doesn't fit in the budget though, and there's going to be an ROI, like, do I just pull the trigger and take the chance on it? And of course, I've been there. I think a lot of entrepreneurs were crazy. There's a level of, we're not afraid of stuff that is dangerous. But also, we have to take risks to get ahead, and no win came from playing it safe. But at the same time, I think I can speak for myself. When I've gotten in hot water, it's because, I'm like, this makes sense. And sure, it might make sense, but the ROI doesn't catch up fast enough for me because I'm learning along with it at the same time. So even though you learn these tools, doesn't mean you always stick to them.
Right. So part of that uh, pricing tool discussion is, and you said it a few minutes ago, and it's important just to make sure everybody catches that lesson. Make sure when you're doing numbers on equipment, say, or whatever you're doing numbers on, but equipment's a big one, that it's not just the lease payment. It's like, or the payment or the amortized payment, or, hey, I paid this much money up front and it's going to last this many years. It's the insurance, it's the maintenance, it's the part replacement, it's the whatever that is, electricity it uses, utilities, whatever it happens to be. Bring as much of that into the calculation as you can, and then figure out over how long a period, how many customers, what average transaction, to figure out, okay, what do I need to charge?
Yeah, and you have no excuse anymore. Yeah, you have no excuse. Throw it in AI and just ask. I'm like, here's what my average hydro bill is. Here's the average appointments I have a month. Here's the average of time it takes. Here's our, like throw in your revenue in your reports. Throw it in. And in 5 years, here's my lease. Put it in there. Like, also what's the carrying cost of this thing? And let's just assume it needs 30 grand of, maintenance along the way. Like, what is this costing based on, my sales last year per treatment? Is the cost on this. Like, you have help now. So, what your neighbor down the road or competitor is charging for something does not mean that that's profitable. It
Yeah.
probably means it's not.
Yeah. Well, no. What you just said's a fact, though, because the current data says 90 to 95% of businesses are either closing or going bankrupt. Like 90 to 95% of businesses are not making even a fair market wage for what the owner does in the company. So it's a fact that whatever they're doing, you don't want to copy because it's not working. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what do they do? They start hacking prices, and then it's a, competition to the bottom.
Yeah.
I've been there. I did it too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the whole chase revenue game. As long as I'm bringing in revenue, I got to be making
Yeah, I
money.
just need cash. What's in my bank balance right now? Like, what bill's coming? I know. I was there.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah. Yeah. So the AI is an incredible tool for sure. No question. One concern I've got is AI, the way it works is they put guardrails on it. Those guardrails are to point to certain vectors, meaning Like when you plug something into AI, it can't search every device connected to the internet. It has to, whoever programmed it has to say where to go look for the information. So the issue is if 95% of businesses are failing today, and we see this, that means the current education system, like there's more, this is crazy if you really think about this. There's more coaches, mentors, advisors, business books, courses than there's ever been in history right now. But the business failure rate is higher than it's ever been in history right now. That's a problem. Like that's a stat where you're like, hey, wait a minute, time out. This doesn't make sense. And AI is amazing. No question about it. I'm not crapping on it. But one big concern is someone goes in and asks questions. AI gives answers. Where's the AI getting the information from? Where's it pulling it from? Because it's not like it's not thinking itself where to pull it from, right? So I think just to clarify for the listener, like what you were saying a minute ago, use AI to figure out like what's the maintenance cost on this kind of equipment going to be, or what's this going to be, or the insurance or the utilities or whatever. And, over this many years divided by how many users, what kind of price per thing to help you understand your costs, which is awesome. AI is great for that. Where we see it get risky is when you ask AI, then what should I price this item at? And that's when things get scary. AI pulls all sorts of bad
and it varies
information.
so much.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know if I'm running my business out of my dad's warehouse and he's not charging me rent, well, that's going to be very different.
Exactly.
Than, somebody who's in a really bad lease, or I've got an employee that, she's a gem and she came with a whole bunch of stuff and fees and she cost me more. Like, I'm learning now a big thing that happened that shifted. I had a lot of stuff shift in my business actually in the last 12 months. So, I'm sitting here, I'm like, how did this balloon out of control? Like, I would never let this happen. And I'm like, well, when the FDA changes policy and your MD actually has to do a virtual or in-person script with every single patient, oh yeah, you think she's going to charge me more money? I would. Absolutely she would.
Right.
So, there's a huge expense that happened. I've been really loving investing in Instagram and making reels like left, right, and center and, building a personal brand alongside this. Well, yeah, that high-end content isn't cheap. Right? I got an EA because I wanted to get my life back a little bit. Well, that's not cheap either.
Yeah.
So, like what I have to charge to like make it all work is going to be different than an AI is not going to know this
Exactly.
stuff.
That's the point. You got it.
Yeah.
We're actually, sorry, on a side note, and then we'll continue with your story, but on a side note, I think you'll appreciate this. We're taking all of our number tools, so profit plan, pricing tool, marketing plan tool, all of it, we're tying it all together and we're going to create an AI that's not corrupted by the World Wide Web, self-contained and can't get contaminated. So it gives good information, the right answer, all that stuff you just talked about, it calculates that into your pricing, which will be great because
I want it.
It's coming. We want
it too.
Yeah, we want it too.
Yeah.
It should be ready within like 3
sure.
months. We're super jacked.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great. You guys, that's going to help so many people.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk team, because you've done a really great job of, I don't want to say building a team. I want to say cultivating a team that like performs and is excited and stays, and low staff turnover and that kind of stuff. And I know some of the things we got into originally, and then you can expand on this, but like we got into the hiring process, we got into performance reviews, we got into team meeting agendas, like structured that, do the right thing and things like that. And I don't know, did you do the bonus program? I can't remember.
I do. I don't need to though.
Okay.
But I do. Well, I wouldn't say it made any difference in staff performance. The people that I've attracted, like obviously we do disc and back, so personality testing. So I know like how to coach or how to show up. That's more a tool I use. What was really powerful that I brought in a couple years ago, I don't know if you guys have heard of Working Genius. Okay, another personality tool. And I was like, I track the same kind of people, or I like working with the same kind of people with a similar, like whatever personality traits and skill sets and frustrations and all the things. But my team doesn't really they're not motivated by a financial bonus. And that sucks as somebody who loves to drive sales, but they do love attention and praise and acknowledgement. And I'm not a galvanizer, which is so funny because I'm, a fitness coach and I love people and I love kids and I love cheering people on, but like it's actually, super frustrating. So as a leader, learning disc and back and working genius and things and knowing what is my frustration and what I'm not naturally good at, I had to build in these cadences, which came with like personal reviews that have really helped me show up for my team and give them what they need without me forgetting to do it because it's not natural to me to do it.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yep.
So bonuses, yes, but in a different way. Like I take my team away for an annual retreat.
That's a
I
bonus.
don't give them bonuses, but it's a bonus.
Yep.
And then it's a working 3-day bonus. And so, but a check bonus, if I had divvied it up what that costs per staff member, they wouldn't care. I know they wouldn't care. It just end up on a commission check and people would be like, yes, so go buy some new Lululemon with it or something. I don't know. So yes and no, if that helps. This is more valuable and doing it in different ways than a just straight dollar bonus system.
Well, it's funny because that echoes Daniel Pink. Daniel Pink wrote a book called Drive, The Secret Science of Motivation.
Yeah.
He actually says the lowest motivator for most people is money. He says there's so many other things and recognition is a big one of them. So you're proving his book and his hypothesis with your team and showing out to be true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think part of why that might be the case, though, is I don't think enough people draw a dotted line from the money to how it affects their life. I don't think we're not taught that in school, right? So people don't the minute they make that connection, that perspective changes. They start to be driven by money, but people are not taught to do that.
No, and staff like my staff, in my experience, they appreciate the other stuff. Like I know when their kids, their grad date is. I know when their anniversary is. I know, when their birthdays are. Things that are like that. I'm happy. Like, oh, you need to go do school pickup? Cool. Like, great. Yeah. You leave every day at 2:15, come back at 3:30. Like, whatever. Like, you hit your KPIs. I don't care. Whatever's going to make you happy and support you. Like, let me know how I can do that better for you. But again, it's not just a free for all it's a KPI based. You want to take a month and a half off? Awesome. Can't wait to see what your KPIs are like for the next 3 weeks and right when you come back. Like the expectation is set that those things are met. And I've built this really beautiful, I think, mutual respect in the team that I've got a lot of little mini entrepreneurs running my business like it's theirs, or at least their own books like it's theirs, which is helpful.
You've built an autonomy. Right? This idea that we're working as a team and we're all here to row the same direction, that doesn't mean that we all have to do the industrial style scheduling. Right?
No.
So you're not working an assembly line. Why act like it's an assembly line?
And especially when you're working with women, like again, in my experience, and especially like in the gym world too, Dennis, like I didn't people did it for fun. Like they didn't need it. It wasn't, they had a big girl job if they had another job, or it was like a passion hobby, basically, that they made some extra side cash on. So that has its challenges. Like I never had challenges with it, but watching my friends with other studio owners, like, I went through COVID. I didn't lose a single staff or have anybody ask for a raise in 7 years.
Interesting.
Like I was underpaying drastically in the market, but I was also very transparent of my KPIs. Again, like that's something I think business owners don't do. Like it's really hard to get your team to be motivated for more or to also understand why things are tight if they don't know. And the numbers, like they can't move the needle if they don't know where the needle's at, has always been my principle. And if you're embarrassed or worried or fearful of showing your numbers, I'm like, why are you in business? Like to your competitors, sure. But to the team that can make an impact on those numbers, that has to be there. So I think to add to all the tools of team, I've always been very, very transparent. I mean, it's easy when COVID's not your fault to be like, guys, like this is ridiculous. Like I don't even know how we're going to pay payroll, but I missed payroll a few times, but nobody ever was not paid. If we were a couple days late or whatever here and there over, 17 months of closures, fine. But, not many studios in our area even made it to a sale or made it out the other side. So I couldn't have done that if the team wasn't there and also had all the other things that were non-monetary bonuses that were bonuses of the job with the transparency and, like you said, the autonomy and mutual respect and stuff. So yeah, I don't know.
So what would you say to someone who goes, yeah, but their paychecks there is their reward. So, I mean, that's the only thing I'm going to focus on is they just get paid
Yeah.
to do your job.
And Dennis, I struggle with that too. Like, I can't say, like, I'm not sitting here like, oh, my team's all, half the time I'm like, oh, like they get paid for the JOB, do your JLB.
Right.
Like, and there was years I never paid myself, Dennis. Like I was that like there wasn't anything. And I, super generous and very happy and my expenses were paid, like whatever. But I didn't, working 900 hours a week and not taking dollar. That was me for a long time as a business owner. So yeah, I do struggle with that a lot. I think when you have somebody or a team member that you feel that way from, one, I want to know, do you know what their personality is like? Like, where do they land on disc and back? And how do you show up with your strengths and weaknesses for them? Are your policies and code of conducts, like, are those in place enough that you have actually been coaching properly? Because I assume by the time it becomes a big problem, it's already been a problem for a while. So you haven't dealt with it. You haven't given them metrics to deal with it or track their KPIs properly and coach them along the way to be able to achieve them. And then you haven't adhered to these code of conducts, or I don't want to say like disciplinary things, but what are you doing when someone doesn't hit their KPIs? Do you let it roll for 6 months? And if you are, like, of course they don't know. How would they know? They've been doing what they're doing, trucking along the way they've been trucking along. And it might even go further back that I've learned years later is like, did you onboard properly? Was the onboard system there so that they actually learned how to be successful in your organization? And then was your hiring process good enough that you attracted the right culture fitting person, let alone technically skilled person?
So you must have rebuilt that
know.
too then, your whole hiring process and everything else from the ground up. So what'd you do there?
Like everything. I just posted a really cool reel about hiring a nurse injector because I went through this year, like 10 years in business. And then I was like, oh, like I got these nurses that are so talented, but like it's not really working. And why isn't it working? Well, I hired for skill, not for culture. And so my job posting is all about culture, the things I know this job needs. And it's very specific. As nothing, I don't care if like what you can do with a face, sure. But in my organization's culture trumps all. And I can't coach you or change you if the hiring process didn't read right and attract the right people. And then of course the interview process, like, am I asking the right questions? Like, first thing is I'm like, tell me about your day. Like, what'd you do so far today? And what am I looking for? Did you pack lunch? What'd you have for breakfast? Was it high protein? What's on your skin? And how did you sweat already today? And then, yeah, we meet at Starbucks because I want to see what you freaking order. And I'm judging you. Yeah, I am. Because if you're getting a venti, frappy something with extra caramel, your glucose is going to drop. And I know you're going to feel like shit. And that means my bottom line and revenue is also going to be shit. So sorry. Like, I care about your well-being too. And we're here in longevity. So if you don't align, you don't align. But I'm going to walk by your car and see if there's McDonald's wrappers in it. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm not pretentious, but I just know that life is hard. And if we don't actually physically take care of ourselves, we're not going to thrive. So that's like the first thing I look for. Like, if my staff don't pack a lunch, I send them home. Take me to the Alberta Labor Board. Go ahead. Like, you're welcome. I do it once and then they pack a lunch or they buy healthy food and they plan their lunch. I don't want you to work through your lunch. Like, what? Sit down and eat food. So, but I am concerned about the well-being. And then also, like, you let it slip with one staff member, then they're all partying on the weekend and they're all not working out in the morning and, they're stressed. And then I have to worry when like bad things happen, like a parent dies or, we go through a hard time in the business. Like, I need my like warriors ready. And I know they're happier because I care about those things. And if the business does go belly up at any time, I know that they actually have skills and values and habits that are going to serve them for the rest of their life.
Well, and I
don't know.
think what you're talking about there that people can't or need to make sure they're taking away from this is that you're setting the standard for what the people around you want to have for the culture. Like some people say, well, you're being too harsh. You're being too mean. Why would you look at the car? Why would you care what they drink for Starbucks? Why should any of that matter to you? It's my own personal choice. Well, if you've got a team that all believes the same thing, it's a whole lot easier to row that boat in one direction than having somebody who's going to power out halfway through or come up with this or with that. And you mentioned the word discipline before and you kind of hedged on it, but I think it's not discipline, it's accountability. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If I set up a KPI and you agree to it, do it. Like that's, I think what people need guardrails. And it sounds stupid when you say it, but most people I've ever come across need some form of guardrails to function properly. Everybody from a 2-year-old child up to a 90-year-old person, they need the guardrails. And that you've talked about setting up your culture in a way that has the guardrails that matter to your staff. And that's allowed you to build that inclusive culture. And I don't think people should be scared of that.
Yeah. And like you said, Dennis, like the JOB, like, yeah, they're getting paid for the JOB. That's like their reward. But like to have people actually achieve the JOB consistently and hit those benchmarks and those KPIs, I know it takes so much more now. That it's not just a paycheck with the right job description and like they know how to like do the things. It's way bigger than what they're actually hired for that's going to make a business thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Like if anything, the job itself is the smallest piece, in my opinion. Well, because I've had the people that can do the job and like it can ruin the whole business if the rest of the stuff's not there.
Yep. Well, and you had talked earlier about the transparency of sharing the numbers with them. Now, I think the reason why a lot of people don't share the numbers with the staff is because the owner themselves don't know the numbers because they're not looking at it until like 6 months after. So go back to that a little bit. Talk about the transparency of like, what did you learn going through the program that taught you about the numbers that you then passed on to the staff that you found was massively impactful for their performance?
Well, I got the staff to start helping me do the KPIs. So, it's like creating an SOP. Like I don't write an SOP ever. Like, no, I teach somebody how to do it. They do the SOP and then they teach it to somebody else. And then we sit down and we decide if it's good enough or whatever. But there's always that like built-in learning. And I can move faster if I just have the data. So that's helpful because then they're actually doing the exercises themselves and they're learning critical thinking skills. And also when they're sharing all their numbers together, there's also like in the beginning, like, oh, I better like pull my weight because like Dennis is going to see my numbers, right? Like for sure. And then for me, what I experience is like I've got 2 phenomenal high performers. They're so consistent. Their KPIs, I don't even bother looking at them. I can probably guess by just watching how they're showing up in this time of year. Like they're so consistent. They have been forever. If I've got somebody who's new and they're not pulling their weight, like I'm embarrassed. Like I'm like, oh God, I haven't been spending enough time with this new staff. Like they're going to get resentful. Like we're pulling the weight at the company. Like this would have never flown 5 years ago with you. Like, so there's a bit of that, but also like, yeah, when this person gets to go and, they get paid a little bit more than you, I feed them the good leads. It's like, look at their numbers. Like, of course they deserve it. I don't care if you think I'm favoriting them. Well, yeah, they're bringing in the most business and they're also a culture fit. So like, just do the same thing and you can be a favorite too. So I don't know. I show all the numbers are there. They learn how to do them. One thing that's been new, Dennis, for me in the last like 3 months, and I don't know, I haven't done it long enough, so I don't know how good this is, but we've been doing personal budgets. And this is like way above and beyond. I've also been really reflective in the last couple of days. Is this too much of my energy? Because that's a thing too. We like as business owners, you only have so much to give. Like where's the best ROI for your time and your energy? But I've been doing one-on-one meetings with every staff member. They're about an hour and a half. And thank goodness I don't have a massive team, but that's like 15 hours a week, like prep time and hour time. And a month ago, everyone was embarrassed about their debt that they were carrying. And I want to just know, I want to be able to motivate them in a new way. Like, let me build you out a system that shows if you hit this in the company every month, here's how fast we can pay back your debt. And if I can find out what your why is, like, oh, Miss Technician I have, her boyfriend just moved to the island and she wants to work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I actually know that's possible because I did that. So let's build it out. Let's build it out. How do we build this out? Let's make those metrics. So I've been doing that and it's been really neat because the second we started, no one was transparent about their debt. Also, I was so shocked at how great my team is at knowing our KPIs. They had no clue where their money was going. So, in 6 weeks to see some of them pay off small credit cards and like, book a trip or whatever it was, like, that has definitely helped. And I feel good as a boss. I'm also extremely exhausted. So I don't know how sustainable or to what level this is, but that weekly babysitting of taking KPIs now, not just out of the business, but also into their personal life, so that we as a society, or me as a little organization, can at least raise a bunch of women that aren't embarrassed about their numbers and actually have some autonomy and some power around it. But also that it doesn't matter where they're at, we can change them. This doesn't have to be your story. And same with the business. If we're in a shit season, they don't get flustered anymore. If I can tell them, like, guys, we're going to be tight for payroll in these next 3 bills, they don't panic. No one's like, oh my God, I got to go apply somewhere else. The question is like, great. So like, what's the plan? Okay, awesome. So what's expected of me? Okay. I also have this idea, hear me out. And that has been so liberating and so awesome. I don't know how to like make it bigger and better, but I don't know. That's just something new that's sort of going on in my little organization. But KPIs, man, they can't change them if they don't know them, and they can't do anything with them if they don't understand them.
I had a client with a similar experience. He had a client that was begging him for promotion. I'm like, but we ran his personality profile. He's not fit for the promotion. It would stress him out. It would wreck him. And so he actually sat down and said, so why do you want the promotion? And we found out, well, every month he's $500 short of his break even. And instantly we're like, okay, here's what we have to do to get you that extra raise, to get you to where you want to be. And suddenly his engagement went way up. He's like, yeah, the business actually cares about where I'm going. I've got a plan now. I've got a ladder I can climb. And we were able to do it without putting him in a position where he was completely stressed out because it wasn't the job for him. We're able to work around it. So it makes a lot of sense.
So there's your proof of what we were talking about earlier, about how Daniel Pink talks about its culture, emotion, attitudes, what drives them. What you just talked about is the proof that if you can help draw that dotted line from their salary, money, KPIs, bonuses, whatever, to their personal life, that changes everything. And then you got people that are now, because if they're successful personally, financially, and I know money doesn't make the world go around, but it actually does. If they're successful personally,
it's the lubricant in the wheels.
Yeah, then emotionally they get more excited. They get like, it's like little kids. We all know this. When you teach little kids sports, you don't sit them down in a room and show them X's and O's and playbooks, and you tell them, go kick the soccer ball. Like, can you kick it? Yeah. Okay. Now can you kick it in that direction? Yeah. Now can you kick it in the net? Yeah. Hey, big win. And then they get excited and they want to learn the X's and O's because they want to score another goal. So yeah, what you just said, for everybody.
Yeah,
Great advice.
I don't know, Greg, where it would go and how long it will go. Like, I think maybe this will offer some insight. Like, Dennis and Greg, in my business right now, like, I'm ready to expand. We have a location. Basically we're doing it, but I'm also having a bit of a midlife like reflection. Like, is this really what I want to do? Like, of course I want to move into perimenopause and all these things, but like, okay, like facials, I'm not impacting the way that I want to be. Like, I got into this business because it helped pay the other business, but I'm not totally aligned. And so I want to just at least make sure my team is aligned and that they're really happy regardless of like, do I sell down the road? Do we even expand? Do I like move away? Do I go work in an orphanage? Like, I have all these thoughts just like every other, I know, business owner does. But what's helping me with doing this exercise is I'm learning what their longer term vision is. And so that's helping me feel calm in my unease, but also helping me create vision when I'm in a season of maybe I'm a little unclear of my vision. And I think that's so important to keep as a business owner, that if we don't have vision, how the heck can we expect our staff to do the job? Of course they're not going to. We haven't inspired them to. And so then here we are, they're a little underperforming and we're like, oh my God, Sally Ann isn't, like, I pay her too much. This is so shitty, blah, blah, blah. I could put a posting up and get someone to fill the job, but it's like so much bigger than that. And it started like, well, was Sally Ann the right fit? And did you onboard her properly? Did you have those tools? Did you show up and do reviews with her along the way? Does she understand that when she, shows up to work 20 minutes early, unpaid because she wants to, because she knows she can prep for all of her sales and her clients ahead, does she know what's in it for her if she does? And do you as the boss know also what's going to move her to make her want to do it? And that we need our people. I don't know. Again, I'm so transparent on so many levels. Maybe it's overly transparent, but I have no problem telling my team I'm in this season. I had this big meeting last week. I love you. I love us. I love what we're doing, but I'm really unfulfilled and I'm feeling like I can't make the next decision for us. Did anybody quit? No. Instead, I had like hours of conversations and, AI drafts of what we should do. And like, hey, it's okay if we don't even expand. Why do we have to? Like, so culture is king in my books. I'm super passionate about it. Yes, there's all these other skills that you have to learn from your coaches. I was like so blessed to learn from you guys, but I couldn't implement them properly if I didn't also have the culture side working at the same time. And I don't think I could get to the next level of business ownership and even just my path over the next like 6 to 18 months if I didn't have the tools plus the culture and the team that could support this next phase.
But you need both. I think
yes,
there are
100%.
there are too many coaches out there, advisors, whatever, and too many business owners going, well, so they're taking the words culture's king literally. They're saying it's culture, and then somewhere way down the list is, oh yeah, money comes. Doesn't work that way.
No.
They got to be complementary. Like if you got a business focused on making money and you got shit culture, it ain't going to work. If you got really good culture, but you don't know how to make money, I can tell you that culture is going to fall apart in 5 minutes because the first time you don't pay your staff, they're gone. So it has to be, they have to live together. And then I want to go back to something you said earlier.
And you got to teach them.
Yeah.
You got to teach them about the money. You got to teach them about the business. I don't know why they don't have autonomy. They're working. And I'm sure every profession's different. And if I ran a coffee shop, I probably would be, well, no, I wouldn't. I would teach my barista of like, we're going to add on like, Dennis, do you want a cinnamon bun with your thing today? Like, is that an extra 2 pumps of whatever? Like,
yeah.
I'm going to show her if she says that every single time, what that's going to do and probably put in some kind of bonus for her. But, so yeah, I take that back. But teaching our team about how to make money and how the business works is actually the real job.
Yeah, you got it.
And I don't think there's enough business owners actually doing that because they probably don't know themselves. Like you said, Greg, like I didn't.
Yeah.
I knew I'd run a really great fitness class. Like I knew that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I want to go back to something else you said. Like you said earlier, and I'm sure a lot of people, well, I think business owners go through stages, right? Like they might be like, I want to do this because I love this thing. So they start the business or buy the business and then they struggle and then they can't pay their bills. And then all of a sudden the money part starts creeping into their radar. Like, oh, now it is also about money, but lots of them can't figure out how to fix that. So then if they do figure out how to fix it, then it still can be about, like you said earlier, like, what's my why? I love this thing. That's all great. But bottom line is this: if the business is successful, money-wise, then it provides whatever flexibility you want to do. Like, I've had clients where their goal was to, like, I have a client whose goal was to set their business up successfully, make it make money without them there, replace themselves, and have the profit from the company fuel the charity they wanted to do, right? And that's what it does. So, but if the business didn't grow and didn't make more money, so they had to figure out this charity they wanted to do. What did that look like? What did they want to spend? What's a company got to make to be able to do that? And then that became the motivation to grow the company at that certain point, right? So for everybody, it's going to be different. But again, what you said earlier, and people may be going through that same mental block of it. Do I still have the fire to grow this? It doesn't mean you have to love, like, I don't know, if a business owner doesn't love a certain task they do during the day or like a service they provide, then earn the right, build the company where you can focus on what you do want to do, but you got to earn that right. It doesn't happen overnight. And then when you get it to that point, then you can take that money and go do what you want to do, right? Like there's lots of companies in the world that have done that where the owners, they aren't even there anymore, but they're still the owners. They still make the profit. And then they do profit sharing with the executive team and whatever kind of thing, right? But small business can do that too. But again, you got to earn the right to get to that point. And then some of those business owners might say, well, I want to, sell it in 2 years because I want to go do this other thing. But what they're maybe not thinking through is that other thing they want to do costs money. So instead of I want to sell the business in 2 years, maybe I want to get the business set up in 2 to 5 years where an executive team can run it. I'm the chairman, so to speak, and that could just be a little business, right? I'm the, like, maybe it makes $1 million profit a year, which technically be defined as a small business. And then they're the chairman. They have the executive team that does profit sharing, and then they can go do what they want to do in other areas, right? Like I don't think enough people think that way, that the bottom line is the business is a tool to help you live the life you want to live. You got to define what that life is. The other thing I think is people stress too much defining the life they want to live when they're missing the point of it doesn't matter what life you want to live. You still got to build the business. Like whatever life you want to live, let's say each finger is a different life. You still got to build the business where it's predictably profitable and can succeed without you. And once you got that built, pick what life you want to live. And I can almost guarantee you, when you get to this point, you'll change your outcome. When you get to this point, what outcome you want will change. So I think people spend too much time stressing about what outcome before I do the journey to build this. Our point is build this first. And then along the path, the outcome you want is going to change because you understand what's achievable and things change, and that's okay, right? But building this, that's the key. It's the tool that helps you earn the life you want to live. In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah. But a lot happens before you start thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean,
sure.
the first phase is how do I get out of the sewer? Then the second phase is now that I'm out of the sewer, how do I get clean? And then once I'm clean, it's where do I go? So as you build it, you figure out where you want to go.
And I think even just like the whole idea of like build your business to sell, like I think even talking about selling for me, I've learned, well, if a business is ready to sell, I'm like pumped for that owner. I'm so proud of them because I know what that takes. Like that means the systems are there. You've built an asset that's worth something. That means your team is happy. That means there's hopefully some profit there. And we're not selling like I was in the gyms. But I'm so surprised at how many people are like, why are you selling your business? I'm like, y'all, I've had it for 10 years. I'm like outgrowing it. Like, or like it's the vehicle to get me to the next step. Like it doesn't even matter if it's profitable. You don't know what I want to do with the next bit. And also you go try to sell your business right now because I know you can't. Like you don't even know where to start. And also it's so daunting because everything's a mess. I know it. Sure, it's profitable, but it's a mess. Like nobody can take it over right now.
Which means systems. It's probably not profitable. They're probably just making a wage. No. We introduced it's interesting to see, we introduced a really cool tool in one of our webinars last week, first time, and it's saying, what do I want? What's the end goal? What do I want my business to be worth one day? So let's say 10 years from now. And then it's reverse engineering by year to today. So what's today's P&L? What do I want the business to be worth 10 years from now? Then you build the P&L to match it. And then reverse engineer it back. So it's a step by step over those 10 years. And then the section behind it is
I want the spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's really good. And then the section behind it is what are all the KPIs, like you were talking earlier, what are all the KPIs attached to that? So then what are those KPIs today? What do those KPIs need to look like 10 years from now to hit that number? And then what do those KPIs need to look like each year through that 10 years? And now we have a full-on business plan to get to that number. But what it does, what we're seeing, it's only been a week, but what we're seeing is the light bulbs are firing on these business owners going, okay, now I see the path. I know it's achievable because I can get that many new customers or change my average transaction by that or get the customer to buy this many times per year. Like all those KPIs, I see the numbers. So now it's believable. And then the brains then go into what I'm seeing anyways, the brains then go into, well, wait, I said I want my business to be worth 3 million 10 years from now, but now I see with that path, it could be worth like 8 million because to be worth 3 million, I would actually be underperforming based on those KPI steps. Like you can actually see it. In some cases, they'll see the number of new customers go backwards. They'll see, oh, they got to lose 50 customers to hit that revenue number. I'm like, so there's your point. Like if average transaction, number of new customers, how many times they buy per year, all those things, if they all jump, you can achieve, like in 10 years, you can move mountains. And then it gets them fired back up about what they're doing again, because now it's less about what do I want to do in life. It's more about, wow, I could build that. That's right there. I see it. And it's been really cool. We prototyped it a little bit a month ago and launched it last week. And I'm not saying this to promote our program. I was saying this because we just have a deep passion for 95% are failing, and it doesn't need to be that way. And I think, if people can see that, and like, think little kids with sports, you teach little kids sports, when they start to see how they can accomplish things, they want more. They get passionate about the sport, right? Same thing with business, with adults. We all know this about kids. We just don't know it about ourselves.
And business is just, I don't know, it's a crazy journey. Never ending learnings.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. It's wild. And I feel for business owners that don't have resources and aren't hiring coaches and aren't learning things. Like, the job is overwhelming. Like, it's a lot already. And I think a lot of people get into it and they're honestly not cut out for it. I hate to even say that as an educator, and believes that if you put in the work and you have the right guidance, that anybody can learn anything. I truly believe that at my core, but I don't think people are tough enough. Not a lot of them, because that's,
I can tell you
that's part
this
of it,
with full
for sure.
transparency. If I had me, or say if I had me or Dennis 20 years ago, I wouldn't be on this podcast right now, because I lost a business 16 years ago. And I lost a business 16 years ago when I had the pedigree at that point in time to not lose a business. I had a successful pedigree. Like, there should have been no reason I lost the business, but it was one bad decision, just one. That's all it took. One bad decision, boom, 20 stores gone. Like poof, like a cloud of smoke. If I had me in my ear 20 years ago, it wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't be on this podcast. I'd be down that journey. So it just, to your
Greg,
point.
doesn't that make you mad though? Like, everyone's like, "Oh, you lost the studios. Like, that's why you know so much." And I'm like, y'all, I've never needed to go through that. Like, I was smart. That was fun.
So I know you'll appreciate this, because I'm assuming you went through the same
Oh my gosh.
mental journey. When that happened, probably for like, I'm going to say like 3 to 5 years, I couldn't even walk in a mall. I would just blood would start coming out my ears. I was so pissed off. Now, fast forward to today, without getting into a political conversation, small business is getting fucked in a big way. Big way. The failure rate is crazy. And Dennis and I both...
The taxes.
Everything. So Dennis and I both have a big passion to... we work with one-to-one clients, and we can affect 30 clients at a time each, so 60 clients. And then here's the funny part, and I'm coming to my point in a sec, but it's funny when I see, and I don't want to throw coaches under the bus, but I'm going to for a sec. When I see someone say, "Oh, I've helped thousands of businesses," what that actually tells me is their client turnover was every 3 to 6 to 9 months. They didn't help anybody. All they did was get a bunch of clients, charge them money, didn't help them, because I've been doing this 16 years. I haven't even helped 100. How the fuck can you stand up there and say you help thousands? That just tells me you're no good at it. So anyway, me personally, I'm just super pissed about it. And I see how people's lives get destroyed. So we're doing a bunch of stuff right now. Like, we're introducing a whole AI program with just our stuff, so it gives the right answers. Yeah, it's actually really cool. Mm-hmm. It's starting to build right now, but and we're now licensing our program to other coaches, and they can coach how they want, but they'll use our program as a foundation to make sure the clients are successful. Because again, it's great. People want to help people. That's great. But if you're not making a difference, then, you're in an industry it's like that, right? Bad trainer or bad yoga instructor, or bad aesthetic or bad peptide or bad whatever, you want to help, but if they're getting bad results, then you're actually going the other direction. So, and I know you're studying your industry hardcore, so you can actually help people, not pay lip service to helping people. And there's a difference. So that was a rant, but
it was a long rant.
I'm with you. I worry a little bit, like, what's, if you can't be a business owner and have your head in the clouds. Like, the political climate of our world is a huge thing, and we have the ability to save ourselves to a degree as business owners, or a different power.
Yep.
But at the same time, like, I don't know. But at least if everything hits the fan, I know that I've left some kind of legacy, even if it's in just like my little team and, you
Yep.
know, our little corner of, Canada and my little corner of the internet, like, whatever. At least I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yeah, but
Learning.
if more business
That.
owners did that and they succeeded at it, we wouldn't need the big corporates that we have.
Yeah.
Right? If
I
everybody took
know.
care of their own small communities, everything would be a ton better than what it is. And like, I actually get really offended at the phrase that says shop local. Like, you're trying to guilt me into buying from people that don't know what they're doing. How about we just start learning what we're doing and I don't have to convince you to shop local, because you just will.
I know. Like, working together and learning together. It's just like,
Should be the way it is. Yeah.
yeah.
So, Naomi, before we wrap up, so I know you said you cover Airdrie, and I think you dabble in Calgary a bit, but do you also do virtual services?
Yeah, a little bit. I do. I'm in the middle of signing a few affiliate programs right now, so I can kind of expand my reach, which would be really great. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's probably the easiest place right now, at Naomi Keene, one word. DM me. I answer everything. If you want to collab, I'm a girl. And if you're in the Calgary area, reach out to Esthetics. We're on Google with lots of 5-star reviews.
Cool.
Yes, it's www.oesthetics.com.
Okay, so Naomi, surprise, our podcaster throws a couple of off-the-cuff questions to us to get to know us and the guest. So I see him for the first time here. I read them and we just take turns answering them. So question one, and I'll start with Dennis because I just go in order of my screen. What is your morning routine before you start your work? Dennis.
Get up, down some vitamins, pour myself a cup of coffee, get to work.
Nice.
It's literally
I'm
my
guessing
routine.
Naomi's answer is going to be slightly different. Naomi, what do you do?
I'm trying to shift. I'm an early riser, but I'm trying to get a couple hours of uninterrupted min time in. But I get to the gym first. I work out always first, but same thing. Supplements, water, salt, workout.
Yeah, I just take my
Shower,
water and salt in the
high
form of a coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there you go. No, I do after I work out, but I take like supplements, amino acids on an empty stomach. I don't like to eat first thing in the morning, but I'm eating by like 8 o'clock, maybe a little earlier.
Yeah, I don't eat till 3 p.m. and I stop at 10.
Wow.
I can't.
So, yeah, I can't either. Me, it's pretty boring. It's basically get up, shower, make breakfast, some supplements and vitamins, off to work. I'm trying to get going as fast as I can so I can stop at a reasonable time. I think that's probably my morning motivation or routine now is get going right away so I don't have to work past a certain time every day, which has been working. Okay, second question. Dennis, you're first. What was the first sport or activity your parents put you in when you were a kid?
Baseball is the only one. I mean, outside of school was baseball. Inside of school, well, I mean, you had your mandatory like volleyball and basketball and hockey and all of that kind of stuff. But the one they actually put me in was 1 year of baseball. It was a great year.
Cool.
First year I ever tore my rotary cuff and got bad tendonitis in my shoulder and never quite recovered for the rest of my life. So it was
Thanks, Mom and
a really
Dad.
good choice on their part.
Was it
Yeah.
T-ball or
I blame the
baseball?
coaches though. Nobody. I went straight into hardball, but the coaches that were there never spent any time teaching technique. It was just go throw stuff and go play.
Yeah,
So
that's fun. Yeesh. Naomi, how about you?
My parents put me in Chinese school. I hated it, but I'd put my kids in it today.
In what school?
We in Chinese school. So I went to
Chinese
normal school,
school.
and this was
Okay,
when
yeah.
kindergarten was a full day. Yeah, full day of school. So I was in school early, like 4 or 5, and then would get off school. Like, imagine a 4-year-old right now going a full day kindergarten like that. That's like child abuse now. full day kindergarten, get picked up at 3 o'clock, eat a snack in the car, get dropped off in Chinatown, go to Chinese school. And I was like the first white kid through the school. So let's talk about, interracial racism. But I would do Chinese school from 4 o'clock until 7. We get picked up, eat dinner in the car, and then my mom would make us stay at the dinner table till 10 o'clock at night and study every single day. And I had Chinese school on Saturday.
But you probably learned work ethic, right?
Yeah. What cost though, Greg? Now I'm paying for it. Middle-age autoimmune disorder and whatever. Whatever. It was great. I'm glad I did it. I hated it while I was doing it, and it was good.
Me, same as Dennis. It was baseball, but it was super young, so it was actually T-ball. Go hit a ball off a tee. And then have a bunch of kids just chase the ball around the diamond. No idea what they were doing. Actually, T-ball is hilarious. If you ever want a good laugh, go watch T-ball. Super funny. Okay, awesome, Naomi. Thank you. Thanks for listening to the More Profit, Less Stress podcast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform and leave a comment or review if you're feeling generous. To learn more about us and what we do, check out our website. Until next time, take care.